Hello, everybody. This is Joe from PrepAgent. Hope you're all having a good evening. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, and let's get started. Okay, Danny Garcia gave me 2 thumbs up. All right, and I apologize for the time change today, and I'm glad you guys stuck with me and you're here, and let's do the first question. When a salesperson takes a listing which does not authorize the listing broker to accept a deposit from an offeror towards purchase of the property, the broker should advise the salesperson that A, it is an implied right of the broker to accept a deposit in behalf of the seller or any offer. B, it is an implied right of a broker to deny the deposit for legal liability. C, a deposit will be accepted and retained by the broker from the offeror, but only as an agent of the offeror. Or D, the broker will not be able to accept a deposit from an offeror. What do you guys think? Seems like everybody's going with C. That seems like a good option. Let's see if it works. It does. A deposit will be accepted and retained by the broker from the offeror, but only as an agent of the offeror. Good. Basically, if you're holding somebody's money, you are automatically their agent. Good job, everybody. Before we do anything else on agency, we all have to know the basics of an agency. What are the essentials of a valid agency? Who knows? There's an acronym that could help you guys remember. See if you guys remember that acronym. What do you guys think? Bam! Amanda, Lisa Hest, Notorious Digital Marketing. All you guys seem to get it. We got a smart group here today. Got a cold. Obviously, I'm going to follow up with the question of what does a cold stand for? And Amanda answered it before I even had the chance to ask. Okay, everybody write this. Accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure. Accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure. Accountability, confidentiality, obedience, loyalty, and disclosure. Okay, we all should write that. And like I always said, you guys need to get in the habit of writing things down. Not just so you have it for a later time, but that's a memory technique. If you guys just look at stuff and try to remember it, well, then you might forget it. But when you start writing stuff down, it's an active thing, and that forces you to concentrate on what you're doing and concentrate on what you're learning. Does any of you guys try that when you write stuff down? Some of you guys try writing flashcards or try typing in on our worksheet. When you guys found writing it helps you remember rather than just looking at it and just staring at it and hoping it sticks in your head? I'm not sure if that's worked for any of you guys. If you believe that writing it down works for you, remember, when you log into your PrepAgent dashboard, there is a worksheet that has the words filled out, an ebook, and there's one that's empty, okay? That is by design. That's not by accident. And that empty sheet is also fully editable. It is a Word document, okay? So it's meant so you guys could write everything in there so you can learn that vocabulary. What I recommend you do is you write it in 10 at a time, 10 words at a time. Meaning, write in 10, do it again. Write in that same 10 over and over again till you can write it in without getting any help. Once you can do that, move on to the next 10, so on and so on down the line. Okay? So just keep writing those in, and then that's a great way to memorize those vocabulary because, as you guys know, vocabulary is the key to passing. Okay, let's look at the next question. When is a broker relieved of the obligation to present an offer to purchase real property to the principal? A, when the offer contains more than 3 contingency clauses. B, a broker is never relieved of the obligation to present an offer. C, when the offer is patently frivolous or the broker is acting on written instructions of the principal. Or D, when the offer is for the purchase of non-residential property. Excuse me, when the offer is for the purchase of non-residential property. Okay, and the answer is C. Good. Excellent. And if you guys have any questions, you can also write them in. Arthur's helping me on the chat today. You can always ask him. Some of you guys may be familiar with Arthur as he communicates with so many of you guys through customer feedback when you guys are having glitches or other issues on our website or any of our other parts of our programs. So if you guys have any questions, just write it in there, and he's happy to help. So with that being said, let's keep going here. As you guys may have figured out, Arthur's my partner in crime. I do not do this alone. Okay. Which of the following is not essential to the creation of an agency relationship? A, a fiduciary relationship. B, consent to the principal. C, agreement to pay consideration. Or D, competency of the principal. What do you guys think? Which of the following is not essential to the creation of agency relationship? The answer is C. Okay, this is not an essential of agency relationship, but it is an essential of what? Let's see who can answer that. So consideration is not an essential of an agency relationship, but it is an essential of what? Okay, nice job, guys. A contract. Good. Who here could tell me the essentials of a valid contract? What are the essentials of a valid contract? Anybody? What do you guys think are the essentials of a valid contract? Okay, Amanda wrote lawful object, capable of parties, consideration, and offer and acceptance. Just so you guys know, offer and acceptance, agreement, and mutual consent are all the same thing. They're all the same thing. I get the feeling Amanda's test is soon because she's answered these questions correctly and quickly. So maybe some of you guys should follow Amanda's lead. Seems like she's been studying. Okay, good job, everybody. I wonder if our friend Adam from yesterday's webinar passed. We all gave him a lot of support. I think he did, though. So let's be happy for him. You guys remember Adam from yesterday's webinar was getting ready for the exam. We all gave him that great advice on how to relax. Okay, moving on to the next question. Ethical practices of real estate licensee most nearly means A, efficient and effective business practices. B, knowledge and respect for the law. C, being held in high esteem by peers and the public. D, the licensee's honesty and fairness in dealing with the public, clients, and associates and customers. Okay, the answer is D. So you guys owe a fiduciary duty to your client, okay? But you owe honest and fairness with everybody. Understand the difference. Fiduciary duty has the essence of loyalty, okay? All right? But you owe honesty and fairness with everybody. You don't owe everybody loyalty, but you do owe honesty and fairness to them. Go, Amanda. Amanda, what state are you in? So we all know after you pass where we can refer business to. Okay, while she's writing that, the rest of us will do this next question. Oh, Alabama. Okay. Okay. In which of the following ways can an agency relationship not be created? A, written contract. B, implied contract. C, oral contract. Or D, voluntary offer by agent. And the answer is D. Okay. Can you guys have an implied contract? Is there such a thing as an implied contract? What do you guys think? Okay. Susan says yes. Amanda B says yes. Can you guys give me an example of an implied contract? Who here could give me an example of an implied contract? Okay, restaurant bill. Jason wrote showing of a house. Jason, that's a great real estate example. Yeah, very often, if you are working with people and you are showing them houses, you formed a contract. Okay. Now, it varies from state to state, but different rules apply. But very often, you formed a contract by based on the actions. The example I like to use: if you plant a for sale sign in somebody's house and they know what you're doing and they come out and bring you lemonade and they're happy you're doing it, you may have just had a listing contract. Now, is that the best way to do it? No. But that could be an implied contract. Ooh, an Uber fee. Good one, Aaron. I never thought of that. I love Uber. You guys use Uber too? I use it all the time. Okay, when the selling agent is a sub-agent of the listing broker, A, his fiduciary duty on primary allegiance are to the seller and buyer equally. B, his fiduciary duty and primary allegiance are to the buyer only. C, he only owes each party the normal customer service. Or D, his fiduciary duty and primary allegiance are to the seller only. Okay, good. If you guys like the way that our program's set up, the way the questions show up, make sure you compliment Arthur. I had the knowledge, but he had the design, and he designed this whole thing in this great way, which I'm super happy about. So if you think it's good, make sure you give him a shout out. The way it looks and the way we have questions for review on the right. Okay, moving right along. Yes, and let us know if anything you want us to improve. Okay, so Notorious Digital Marketing asked me, what is the difference between a dual agency and an intermediary? Okay, so dual agency, Notorious, is when you are representing the buyer and the seller in a transaction. Okay, you're representing both. Intermediary more resolves conflict between the two. So it's almost like you're representing neither of them. Okay, so it's a very different situation. Whereas a dual agent is more representing both in finding in the transaction of the property, like as their agent. Intermediary, you're not really their agent. Okay, intermediary is a little more for conflict resolution. All right, on to the next one. If a principal no longer desires the broker to act for him during the period of an exclusive right to sell listing, he may A, none of the other options are correct. B, be forced to sell his property. C, not revoke the agency because an exclusive right to sell listing is an irrevocable contract. Or D, revoke the agency created by the listing contract but may be liable for damages. Okay, and all you wrote D. Okay, you're welcome, Notorious. All right, so what is a listing? What do you guys think? Oh, and Laura asked me, does anybody ever get damages? Not really, Laura, but technically they can. But in real life, it's what I think you're going at. It'd be really hard to do. Going around suing your clients is not the way to get a great name in the business. So realistically, no, but technically, yes, you could. All right. So I see people answering the question about what is a listing. An employment contract is what I was looking for. Excellent. Good job, guys. It's an employment contract. Some of you guys wrote bilateral. Is a listing a bilateral contract? What do you guys think? Is a listing a bilateral contract? Boom, Amanda B. Nice job. Both. Amanda B, what do you mean by both? Or J445? How can it be both? So how can a listing be either unilateral and or bilateral? Okay, 'cause it depends on the type of listing. Okay, everybody ready for this? Exclusive listings are bilateral. Non-exclusive listings are unilateral. Okay? Non-exclusive listings are also known as open listings, right? Why is an open listing unilateral? Who knows? Why is an open listing a unilateral contract? So a lot of you guys wrote open is unilateral. And my question is why? What about it makes it unilateral? Excellent, because the brokers don't have to perform. They could hire many brokers, but a broker could go get a sandwich, go take a trip to Peru. They're not breaking a contract. Whereas with a exclusive listing, you could only hire one broker. So therefore, that broker needs to actively be searching for a buyer. And if they're not, you can't search for another broker because you have an exclusive listing with them. So therefore, if they're not searching, they're in violation of the contract. Okay? Does that make sense with everybody? So the catch is when you're exclusive, you're also binding yourself to actually looking for that buyer. Whereas an open listing, if you're going to hire everybody, then I don't owe you any effort. If that makes sense, give me a thumbs up. Okay, moving right along. In addition to the duties of diligence, care, and skill, a real estate agent owes the principal a full disclosure of all facts material to the subject of the agency. Any intentional concealment of such facts by the agent would probably be regarded as A, constructive fraud, B, misrepresentation, C, conversion, or D, commingling. So the answer is B, misrepresentation. J445 asked me, who would list the open listing I'm confused about? Okay, so an open listing, that would not be your average residential listing. You'd probably see that more with construction companies who build a new condo development. And what you see sometimes is they'll invite all the brokerages in the area to visit this new big development. And they'll say, if any of you guys bring buyers, all right, we will give you a commission for it. So they're not signing any real listings with them, okay? So yes, and Michael, sometimes you have commercial, but it's confusing to some people. It's definitely not something you see on your average residential property for sure. And Michael Vega brings up a great point that sometimes you see it in commercial as well. Thank you, Michael. Okay, who here knows the difference between conversion and commingling? Anybody? What's the difference between conversion and commingling? Okay, so here's the thing. I want everybody to write this down. Commingling is mixing money. Conversion is using the money. Everybody write that? Commingling is mixing funds. Conversion is using the funds. Now, obviously, we're talking about your client's funds. That should be understood. Commingling is mixing the funds. Conversion is using the funds. Okay, so commingling is a big no-no, but conversion is worse. Commingling is when I mix your money with mine. Conversion is when I straight up use your money. You all see why that's a major no-no? Broker Carr with ABC Real Estate Company listed the property with the seller. Broker Smith with XYZ Real Estate Company called Broker Carr and disclosed that he was a buyer agent. Broker Smith wrote a contract with the buyer for the sale of the property. What, if any, is the relationship between the buyer's broker, the seller, and the listing broker? A, customer. B, there is no relationship between the parties. Broker's Carr represents the seller and Broker Smith represents the buyer. C, agency. Or D, dual agency. And how many of you guys just saw this long paragraph? We're like, ugh, a word problem. I hate those. Those are the worst. Come on, be honest. Okay, it seems like a lot of you guys are answering B. I was totally like that when I took my exam. I thought to myself, I'll just guess on anything that has like more than 3 sentences. I hated reading. Okay, and you guys got it right. There is not a relationship between the parties. Broker Carr represents the seller and Broker Smith represents the buyer. Good. Stick with it, Michael. You'll get there. And keep relying on the support of everybody else who's taking the exam. Okay? We got a big community here that's just growing. Go in our PrepAgent real estate exam study group. And of course, the people in this chat are here for you as well. Right, everybody? We're here to support Michael and everybody else who can't pass the first time, but is going to get it that second or third time or even more. Whatever it takes, you stick with it, and you're going to get it. I want everyone to remember, don't ever give up because of the exam. It may take you 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, maybe more. But once you're passed, it'll be done, and you'll never think about it again. When you're working with your clients, I promise you, nobody will ever ask you how many times it took you to pass the exam. Okay? It will never be an issue again. So don't feel any shame or discouraged if this is a little difficult for you. People have challenges in different areas, and this may be challenging for you, but it's not a reason to give up on this. Don't let the exam be something that stops you. Okay, next question. If two parties want to create an enforceable broker principal relationship concerning a right, title, or interest in real property, the most essential element to do so would be A, the authority to accept the deposit, B, an employment contract, C, a purchase agreement, or D, an agreement about the commission. Ooh, Bill missed by 1%. Don't worry about it, Bill. It's so close. Just if you miss by that close, it was like 1%, then I really recommend you just look for that one area you struggled with, get it a little up to speed, and then you'll be on your way. You obviously don't need to focus on everything because you're already pretty close. Okay, moving on. Okay, Monique asked, um, I had a question yesterday, but I had to go to work, so I don't know if you answered it. Why is there so many different titles for the same thing like vendor, seller, grantor? Don't know when to use them. Okay, so the big type of titles you're going to see is equitable title versus legal title, to answer Monique's question. And legal title is the right to sell. That's held by the banks. Equitable titles is the right to use and possess. Okay? All right. So legal title is the right to sell, equitable title is the right to use and possess, and banks have that legal title. Okay, let's look at this next question. So yes, Monique, they use different titles. Okay, the words procuring cause would have an important meaning to which the following. A dispute over commission on an exclusive agency listing. B, when securing a listing. C, a lawsuit against a licensee involving fraud. Or D, the sale of government land. Good. Do you need to prove you're the procuring cause in an exclusive right to sell listing? Why do you not need to prove that you're the procuring cause in an exclusive right to sell listing? What do you guys think? Laura got it right. You get the commission no matter who brings the buyer, as opposed to an exclusive agency listing, where what's the situation with that one? What happens with an exclusive agency listing? Okay, if the seller finds the buyer, you get nothing. So therefore, you do have to prove that you're the procuring cause. Okay, which of the following represents the minimum time period for an exclusive right to sell listing? A, 6 months. B, whatever is agreed upon by the seller and the broker. C, 45 days. Or D, 90 days. And the answer is B. Good. Okay, Michael, I see that. Try and send me a little more information through the Facebook page, and I'll see what I can answer for you. It's a little hard for me to say based upon that minimum information, but I definitely would love to help you. But follow up with me on that through the Facebook page. You could also submit questions through the website. Okay, a listing broker may legally refuse to present a proper offer on the property to the seller when A, acting on the express instructions from the seller, B, the broker plans to purchase the property himself, C, the seller has already accepted a backup offer, D, the broker is acting as a gratuitous agent. And the answer is A, acting on the express instructions from the seller. Good. If a broker is an agent of the seller, he owes to the buyer A, only a duty to disclose any items which relate directly to the sales price. B, a duty of fair and honest dealing. C, only the duty to answer questions honestly. Or D, the same fiduciary obligations. Okay, and the answer is B, a duty of fair and honest dealings. When Agent Andy took a listing, he promised the seller that he would advertise the property in a magazine until it was sold. Andy did not advertise that Andy did not do the advertising he promised. Andy's guilty of A, comprehensive fraud, C, constructive fraud, B, actual fraud, or D, objective fraud. Okay, the answer is B. Excuse me, C. Whoops. Actual fraud. Actual fraud is straight up lying. Who here knows what constructive fraud is? Anybody know what constructive fraud is? What's constructive fraud? Actual fraud is lying when you know that you're lying. What's constructive fraud? Good. Constructive fraud is lying without intention. Okay. And what is negative fraud? Negative fraud. What's negative fraud? What is negative fraud? Negative fraud is avoiding questions or omitting information. Okay. Yeah. It's like avoiding things. It's what they say, it's intentional suppression of the truth. You're not lying to somebody's face, but you're kind of just hiding information. Well, all right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We're going to basically have the same time next week, but as always, look for the calendar. All right. Yeah, Jay, that's correct. So they know the truth, but they basically just hide the info. Okay. So I'll see you guys next week. Yeah, it goes fast. And have a great weekend, everybody.